Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. This is your host, Terry A. Hurlbut. Let me have your attention for a moment for another declaration of truth. With apologies to Alec Baldwin as Mr. Blake in the 1992 motion picture Glengarry Glen Ross. In fact, I've even left a link in the description to his 8-minute speech from that movie. And if there ever was a part in any movie that was better than the lead, that was it. So, what is everybody buzzing about today? The legacy media are complaining about Donald Trump getting his special master. I talked about that yesterday. And why he's still on the streets. As a matter of fact, as I was writing this, Dick Morris came out saying that Judge Cannon just told the Justice Department they do not dare indict this president, or words to that effect. Likewise, the alternative media are still talking about that speech that Joe Biden made on September 1st. They're complaining especially about the staging, which I'll tell you right now, it was so bad that CNN actually altered it in their outstream, downlink, whatever you want to call it. And if you think I'm joking about that, I've left a link in the description to a tweet by somebody who noticed it. As a matter of fact, some of my colleagues are complaining about that too. They're saying CNN might as well admit that they co-produced that speech. Well, maybe they're right. Or maybe that speech was bad enough without that awful staging. But they're all missing the point. All of it. Including whether anybody thinks Trump broke any laws or how serious those laws were, or whether Joe Biden has anything more sinister than the worst producers and publicists any president ever had for an address to the nation. All of that is incidental. So again, to paraphrase Alec Baldwin, let's talk about something important. All right, now I know I have your attention. Before I go on, I do want to shout out to the sponsor of this channel, which is Conservative News and Views, link in the description. Be sure to check out the awesome CNAV Store. Scroll down near the bottom for that link. Lots of great merchandise there, especially this t-shirt that I have chosen for today. It depicts Charles Schwab, head of the World Economic Forum, saying, "You will own nothing and you'll be happy." Well, that's at least hints at the something important I wanted to talk to you about. But the real issue goes a lot deeper. While I'm on the subject, if you like what you're about to hear, you can then like this video. You can also click the bell icon to get a notice every time I come out with a new video. In fact, do you see the new icon, the heart shape with the US dollar sign in it? That's a super thanks icon. If you really want to keep these videos coming, click that and leave me a tip. Any currency will do. All right, ladies and gentlemen, let's talk. First of all, about what kind of society we want to live in. Let's look at what Americans have built and what kind of policies will build it up or tear it down. What does anyone suppose most people want? Well, let's start with the minimum anyone not only wants but needs. Survival training emphasizes these things in the rule of threes. It tells you that you can last 3 minutes without air, 3 hours without shelter to protect you against the worst the elements can throw at you, 3 days without water to drink, and 3 weeks without food. So there you have it. Air, shelter, water, and food in that order. By any measure whatsoever, America had all these things in abundance once. Sheer incompetence or malicious mischief has already curtailed food. Shelf after empty shelf in grocery stores, and signs telling you, limiting you to 1 or 2 items testify to this. We still remember when these shelves were full, and no store manager would dare set such a limit. No one even thought of doing that because we had an economy that worked. Those who would have you doubt that talk about how much more some have than others. That's not the important comparison. The important thing is to compare the lowest of our society to the lowest anywhere else. Not only did America serve the needs of survival abundantly, but America still does it better than anyone else, or did until noon on January 20th, 2021. Not only that, but the lowest in America today is far higher than the lowest in America at its founding. But the current president doesn't talk about that, and he didn't talk about that in that speech, and he still won't. Or if he does, he's telling you a pack of lies. He's telling you, for instance, that those of us on my side believe in a zero-sum game. Only a socialistic economy ever has to be a zero-sum game. An economy with free minds and free markets benefits everyone. Again, if you doubt that, compare America to the Soviet Union. Less than 2 weeks ago, Mikhail Sergeyevich Gorbachev, last of the party general secretaries and presidents of the Soviet Union, died. But why was he the last? Because he knew his country was not working, and at least put it on a path to start working again. Let's talk next about what keeps a country strong. But before we do, I want to shout out to a sponsor who can really help you through the economic storms to come. That sponsor is oursilverlines.com. Do you feel like you're working harder for your money just to get by? You're not alone. The fluctuating economy, employment issues, and unexpected changes in life have left many families struggling over the last few years. Collecting gold and silver can help shield you against many of these challenges. But if you're like me 11 years ago, you don't know where or how to start. Our Silver Lines helps by connecting you with thousands of members who are learning the secrets to creating and protecting true wealth by collecting precious metals. Whether you just want to collect rare and unique coins or take advantage of the business opportunities this company provides, they can help you learn to live an exceptional life. Visit oursilverlines.com to learn how you can build a legacy for your future. Now, back to about what keeps us strong so far. For ever greater strength, economically and otherwise, you can do no better than a republic. A republic is a country of law, not of the strongest or most popular people who can call themselves leaders. But more than that, a republic is a multi-level government. Each level manages the one below it, but ideally does not presume to manage any lower levels. And the lowest governing level in a republic is the household. That's the basis of parental rights in education, one of the most important ways to preserve Republican values. Parents are the ones who run households and care for children. At least they are in a properly functioning republic that doesn't send the children to government orphanages as they did in Nicolae Ceausescu's Romania. Parents have the duty to decide how to educate their children or have them educated. Nothing anyone says about funding, teacher training, or anything else matters if they try to deny that fact. But a certain class that call themselves experts do deny it. And when they go so far as to say that they relieve you of the responsibility for your children, run, don't walk away from people like that. When they tell you that your children are not yours, again, run, don't walk away from such people. Let's talk next about what your children need to learn. They must learn the skills they will need to function as adults. After that, they should learn the skills that they can combine with their talents to take the highest places in our society for which they can qualify. But they do not need to learn to hate one another. They certainly don't need to learn to blame others for any group disadvantage, or blame themselves for any wrong acts of their forebears, whether those bad actors are their direct ancestors or not. Nor do they need people to tell them that they were born wrong and need surgery to put them right again. none of these things will put food on their tables, water in their glasses, or roofs over their heads. And I guarantee you that they do not need to hear that they are blights on this earth. But maybe you can appreciate that they do need to hear that a loving God did create them. Not only that, but he also created this earth for us to live on. Of course, we should exercise proper stewardship over this earth to continue to reap blessings from it. As Sir Francis Bacon said, nature to be commanded must be obeyed. But this earth was made for us, and we are not invaders for the earth's immune system to get rid of. But that's not what you're hearing from people like the Sierra Club or the World Economic Forum. Instead, you hear that the world has too many people on it as it is. Now, maybe it has too many people on it to suit them. That's why you hear the active promotion of inherently anti-procreative lifestyle choices and adaptations, and the drive to urge women to end their pregnancies early, and even to offering to pay their travel expenses, but not to grant maternity leave or even to pay adoption expenses. That was also the basis of the Georgia Guidestones, before their fortuitous and, I maintain, divine destruction. Now you know the important things, but the most important thing is to recognize truth and to tell it apart from lies. Lay aside for the moment anyone's feelings about elections gone past. Who and how many voted for whom in the past is less important than choosing for whom to vote today. Ronald Reagan famously asked whether you were better off now than when his rival took office. Today, I ask whether the policies any given candidate propounds in Congress will make you better or worse off than you are today. Decide with discernment and vote accordingly. Link in the description of the article to the heads up about CNN changing the staging of that speech without telling you, to Alec Baldwin's idea of motivational speaking, and to conservative news and views. I've also left links to the awesome CNAV Store and to oursilverlines.com, as I also mentioned. And you know already about how to like a video, turn on notifications, and leave a tip. And on the next screen, I'm going to leave a subscribe link, a link to Alec Baldwin's famous speech, and a link to my review of Joe Biden's speech and of the decision to give Trump a special master he asked for. This is Terry A. Hurlbut delivering another declaration of truth and reminding you, let the truth set you free.